Welcome back, Magic fans. Today is Sunday, October 30th, 2022. We are rounding out our weekend of 30th anniversary celebration for Magic the Gathering. We are going to stick with the Vegas themed playmats. This is the GP Vegas 2018 playmat that we saw a couple videos ago when we did the Arabian Nights set review. So I thought for today I would continue the theme, the content theme of reprinted cards, commemorative cards, and we'll take a look at reprinted cards from Arabian Nights. Let's do a quick, this is a quick shot of some Arabian Nights cards that were reprinted in various editions. They all have white borders, so unlike the gold bordered World Championship cards and the 30th anniversary commemorative cards that are coming out later this year, these are all tournament legal. You can play these in tournament decks, in casual decks. I like to get them signed by the artists. But what I did is I collected 2 copies of each card that was ever reprinted in white border from Arabian Nights. Arabian Nights was one of my favorite sets, obviously. And I thought maybe I would make 1 or 2 kind of reprinted Arabian Nights sets. And I think there's about 40 cards of the original 78 cards that were printed, not counting the variants, misprint variants. But there's about 40 cards that were reprinted in some version, either white bordered. And so I have those and thought I'd take a look and show you what those cards look like, which sets they were printed in, and how close we can get to making kind of like a complete reprinted Arabian Nights set. So let's dig in, shall we? The first card that was printed was Abu Jafar, and that was only printed in 4th edition. So I grabbed 2 copies of Abu Jafar. And then Aladdin, which is one of the more popular cards in the set. Actually, not 4th edition, but it actually Chronicles, because it has the little scimitar expansion symbol on the card. So you can actually see that the Abu Jafar is Chronicles, because it has the little scimitar on it. Same thing with this Aladdin card. These are both Chronicles Aladdin, because that was the only set that card was printed in. Aladdin's Lamp this is a revised card. It costs 10 colorless mana to cast. The original Arabian Nights had 2 5 colorless circles because they couldn't figure out how to do 10 in the casting cost, but so 2 revised Aladdin's Lamps. Same thing with Aladdin's Ring. This was only reprinted in revised, so that's 2 Aladdin's Rings. Alibaba is reprinted. This is a 4th edition card because it has no scimitar. So 4th edition was the only set that Alibaba was reprinted in. Same thing with Bird Maiden. So I grabbed 2 copies of Bird Maiden. Bottle of Suleiman was reprinted in revised and also in 4th edition. So these are the 2 copies of Bottle of Suleiman. Brass Man by Chris Rush is a really good card. Does not untap as normal. You must pay 1 colorless during your upkeep to untap it, but it has 1 power 3 toughness, so it's a very strong blocker for only 1 colorless casting cost. So this, like Bottle of Suleiman, was reprinted in revised and 4th edition. So those are 2 Brass Men. City of Brass was reprinted in Chronicles with the scimitar. So I have 2 copies of City of Brass. Kumbaj Witches was printed in Chronicles and Anthologies, maybe? I forget. This one has the scimitar, but it's a little bit darker. And the copyright is 98. So I think that's like a special set that I've been blanking on. Cyclone is Chronicles by Mark Tadine. Put that over here. Dancing Scimitar, which is the mana symbol, the expansion symbol, was reprinted in Revised and 4th edition. Dan Dan was reprinted in Chronicles and 5th edition. So this has the Scimitar, this one does not, but it has 97 copyright. Desert Twister, which I had also signed in my signed collection. This one is revised, this one is 4th edition. Ebony Horse was reprinted in Revised and 4th. El Hajjaj was also reprinted in Revised and 4th edition. So many of you will remember these if you opened up Revised packs in the day. This Erg Raiders, same situation. Revised, 4th edition. Then we have Eye for an Eye, also revised and 4th edition copies. Fish Liver Oil was just in Chronicles. Flying Carpet was revised and 4th edition. So I'm sensing a trend. A lot of those two sets are pretty popular. Gazban Ogre is only in Chronicles. Tortoise, Giant Tortoise, was only in 4th edition. Hasran Ogress was printed in Chronicles with the little scimitar on it. Her Jackal was printed in 4th edition only. Reprinted, I should say. Island Fish Gisconius was reprinted in Revised and 4th edition. They fixed the colorless mana symbol. It was dark on the Arabian Nights card, and so it was really hard to see sometimes. So you thought maybe this card only cast 3 blue to cast, but it's actually 3 blue and 4 colorless. So very expensive card to get out on the table. Jander's Ring was only printed in Revised, so there's 2 copies of Jander's Ring. Jander's Saddlebags was revised and 4th edition. Jeweled Bird was Chronicles only. This lets you replace your ante card, so it was sort of banned in a lot of tournament play because it dealt with ante, and ante cards were banned after the first couple of years. Then we have Junun Afrit, was reprinted in 4th edition. Curd Ape was reprinted in Revised. And Beatdown, I think some special deck with this little axe symbol. So there's 2 Curd Apes. Magnetic Mountain was a revised edition and a 4th edition. Metamorphosis was Chronicles because of the scimitar. jdj-sapphire was only reprinted in Revised, so I have 2 copies of that. Mountain was reprinted in a set released in '98 that had the scimitar on it, so this might have been a special starter set. It wasn't Chronicles, but it does have the scimitar on it. Naf's Asp is 4th edition, and there's 2 copies of that one. Oasis was also 4th edition. Piety was reprinted in 4th edition. Repentant Blacksmith was reprinted in Chronicles and 5th edition. So you can the ink is a little darker in 5th, and the text is a little bit differently laid out. But those are the 2 Repentant Blacksmiths. Rook Egg was reprinted as a rare in 8th edition, so that's why this border looks really modern. And the art was by Mark Zug, who's a very awesome artist. So that card's kind of cool. It's the only one I think that I have in this collection that was reprinted with a non-retro frame, but that is the Rook Egg. Put that down there. Then we have Sandstorm, which was reprinted in 4th, and this edition that was reprinted in '99 that has the scimitar, so that's another specialty set. I have 2 copies of Serendib Ifrit that was reprinted in revised. I mentioned this when I looked at the signed set, that Serendib Ifrit is a blue card that costs 2 colorless and 1 blue, but the frame and the artwork is actually If Biff Ifrit, done by Jesper Meerfors, and the real Serendib Ifrit artwork was done by Anson Maddox. So there's a little mix-up misprint error on this card. A lot of collectors remember that from revised, but I have 2 copies of those, 2 copies of Sinbad from 4th edition, 2 copies of Sorceress Queen, 1 from revised, 1 from 4th edition, 2 copies of Unstable Mutation, 1 from revised, 1 from 4th edition, 2 copies of War Elephant, both from Chronicles. I've shown this card a few times in my signed collection, but they are indeed Chronicles copies, and that was the only set that it was reprinted in with white border. And last but not least is Wailuli Wolf, was reprinted in 5th edition and 6th edition. So those are the 2 copies of Wailuli Wolf. That would mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Shoot, I lost count. Let me start over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 6, 8, 30, 2, 4, 6, 8, 40, 2, 4. So 46 cards would be the total of Arabian Nights reprinted in white border. And I think these are kind of interesting period of Magic's history when these cards were popular in the late 90s and they were still reprinting them. I don't think any of these are reserved lists, so I think that they could still be reprinted in current sets. Whether or not they are as effective with some of the new set mechanics that are out there, we'll never know. This Djinn has some coin flipping ability, which is kind of fun, but also not used very often. So I feel like with the D&D set coming out and the die rolling mechanics, maybe coin flipping will be popular again. I know ante is not popular again tournament wise, but there are some casual formats where they do allow ante or just encourage ante or make it optional. So that's kind of a throwback format that's very nostalgic to 1990s Magic. So what do you think? I mean, these are the Arabian Nights cards, much cheaper versions in the white border, but also a period of Magic's reprint time where they were still selling cards that people wanted from the original sets. Yeah, I mean, I think possibly the next big anniversary for Magic the Gathering could be 35th anniversary. Maybe the 35th anniversary edition, they'll reprint Arabian Nights set with modern frames, retro frames, something like that. That'd be interesting. I don't know if they'll have to see how the 30th anniversary beta set reprint goes, but obviously I'm a fan of Arabian Nights. I'm a fan of Magic, Las Vegas in general. I hope you had a good weekend and enjoyed watching these nostalgia videos. I really like the art. I really like the cards. I really like collecting interesting sets, and I like some of the history involved with the game. So if you also appreciate that content, feel free to subscribe, give a like or 2 if you can, and maybe even a comment or question about some of these cards and sets. If I got any of the information correct, let me know. My memory is pretty good on some of these sets, but it's been a while since I've looked at some of these cards, and it's always fun to just kind of revisit. So thanks again for watching.